If there is one topic that needs to be discussed urgently, it is this: how our traumas interfere in our love relationships. Many people believe that the problems they face in love arise by chance, as if they were victims of a cruel fate. But the truth is that most of the conflicts we experience in our relationships are reflections of the unhealed wounds from our past. And the most frightening part? Often we don't even realize it. What happens when a trauma is not resolved? It doesn't disappear. On the contrary, it manifests in the most intimate moments of our lives, especially in love, where our emotions are most vulnerable. But how do you know if this is happening to you? Childhood is the phase in which we learn what love is, how affection works, and how we should behave in order to be accepted and loved. If we grow up in a safe and nurturing environment, we learn that love is a peaceful place. But if we live in an unstable environment full of rejection, abandonment, or constant criticism, we may carry these wounds into adulthood, believing, for example, that love hurts and is not trustworthy, that you need to work hard to be accepted, that you are never good enough to be loved, and furthermore that you must avoid intimacy so as not to be disappointed. These beliefs become imprinted in our subconscious and begin to manifest in our relationships. If you feel that childhood traumas still interfere in your love life, here are 10 clear signs that your traumas are affecting your romantic relationships, with real-life examples for you to identify with. And let's move on to the first sign. But before that, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, because on this channel I'll be bringing a series of videos like this one that will improve your mental health. 1. Excessive fear of abandonment. If you have ever been in a relationship where you felt constant anxiety whenever the person drifted away, this might be a sign of trauma. You send a message and the person takes a long time to reply. Your heart races and your mind starts creating catastrophic scenarios. Has he lost interest? Is he talking to someone else? Instead of waiting naturally, you send several messages, demand an immediate response, and feel temporary relief when it finally comes. This happens because, at some point in the past, you might have experienced a real or emotional abandonment, and now your brain is trying to prevent it from happening again. 2. Difficulty trusting others. Even without any concrete reason, you feel a constant distrust in your relationship. Your partner goes out to an event with friends and you feel uneasy. You try to hide it, but deep down something bothers you. You want to check their phone, ask where they've been, and even if they haven't given you any reason, you feel that betrayal could occur at any moment. This fear may be linked to previous experiences of infidelity or even the environment in which you grew up, where trust was never stable. 3. Turbulent and repetitive relationships. Have you ever felt that you always attract the same type of person? You get out of an abusive relationship, suffer, promise yourself that you will never go through that again, and a few months later you find yourself involved in something very similar. This might indicate that you are repeating familiar emotional patterns. If you grew up watching your parents in a toxic relationship, your brain learned that this is normal and, even unconsciously, seeks to recreate that dynamic in the present. 4. Low self-esteem and a constant need for validation. Your relationships revolve around the need to be accepted and approved. You dress in a specific way because you believe that if you're not perfect, your partner might lose interest. If they don't praise something you did, you feel devalued. This can be the result of constant criticism during childhood or a history of relationships where you never felt valued. 5. Difficulty expressing feelings and vulnerability. You avoid showing emotions because you think they might be used against you. Your partner asks, "What's wrong? You seem off today," but you answer, "Nothing, I'm fine," even though you know something is bothering you. If during your childhood or adolescence you learned that showing emotions was a sign of weakness, it's natural to carry that belief into adulthood. 6. Self-sabotaging behavior. Everything is going well in the relationship, and suddenly you find a way to ruin it all. Your partner treats you well, shows affection, and is truly involved. But instead of fully embracing the relationship, you start nitpicking over small issues, provoke unnecessary arguments, or even consider ending things without a real reason. This behavior can be a reflection of an unconscious fear of getting hurt. If you have been hurt before, you might believe that happiness is only temporary and that, sooner or later, everything will fall apart. 7. Attraction to toxic relationships. Even though you know the person isn't ideal for you, you feel an inexplicable attraction. You might meet someone who is kind, loving, and stable, yet you sense that the relationship lacks excitement. Conversely, someone who treats you poorly or seems emotionally unavailable immediately sparks your interest. This occurs because trauma can make stability seem boring, while chaos and unpredictability are mistakenly equated with passion. Excessive fear of rejection. You struggle to show interest or fully commit to a relationship because you're afraid of not being reciprocated. You may really like someone but choose not to show too much so as not to seem needy. Even when you sense that the person is interested, you act coldly, fearing that being too open might make you vulnerable. This behavior can stem from past experiences where you felt rejected or made to feel inferior. 9. Emotional dependence. You feel that you need a relationship to be happy. When you're single, you experience a profound emptiness and a desperate need to find someone. In a relationship, you place all your expectations on your partner, believing that without them you won't be happy. This pattern can arise from childhood traumas where you didn't receive enough emotional attention, prompting you to try and fill that void in the present. 10. Difficulty accepting love and affection. Even when you receive affection, something feels off. When your partner shows love, you automatically think, does he want something in return? Or this won't last, he must be faking it. If you grew up without consistent love, you may struggle to believe that someone can truly love you. Well, let's move to the end, but before that, I noticed you haven't hit the like button yet. That's very important so that YouTube can continue promoting our content and help you out. So please give this video a like, it's free, okay? Now let's continue. The good news, healing is possible. If you identified with some of these signs, I want to tell you something very important. You are not alone, and more importantly, there is a path to healing. Emotional traumas can feel like invisible chains that keep you tethered to the past, making you relive the same pain over and over again. You might even believe that this is just how it is or that there's no way out, but I want to assure you, there is indeed a way. Many people have already managed to free themselves and build healthy, happy relationships. The major point is that healing doesn't happen on its own. The first step, and perhaps the hardest, is recognizing that there is a problem and having the courage to face it. But why is it so difficult? Because we often normalize pain. We get used to tumultuous relationships, believing that love must be full of suffering, or that everyone cheats, everyone disappoints, everyone hurts. And as long as we maintain that mindset, we remain trapped in destructive cycles. The good news is that science proves change is possible. A study by the American Psychological Association revealed that people who seek treatment for emotional traumas report a significant improvement in the way they handle love, trust, and intimacy in just a few months. But there's one important detail. Healing doesn't happen on its own. It requires self-awareness, effort, and the willingness to change. It's much easier to blame others, to say that all relationships are complicated or that no one is any good. But as long as you think that way, nothing will change. To break this cycle and experience a healthy love, you need to know yourself, understand your emotions and how your traumas influence your behavior. Seek help. Whether it's therapy, support groups, or books on the subject, any resource that helps you evolve is valuable. Commit to change. It's not enough to just understand the problem, you must act to transform it. Allow yourself to experience love in a new way. Let go of fear, make space for the new, and believe that you deserve a happy and balanced relationship. If you feel that your traumas are impacting your love life, ask yourself right now, do I really want to heal? If the answer is yes, then you've already taken the first and most important step. Now it's time to act. Don't put it off, because your happiness in love begins with the decision to change. So, have you heard about this behavior before? Did you know it existed? Have you ever experienced it? Leave a comment below if this has happened to you or if you know someone who has. If this content resonated with you, please subscribe to the channel for more videos on self-awareness, emotional healing, and relationships. And if you know someone who needs to hear this message, share this video. Let's spread this transformation together.